All right, we're going to solve for angles using SOHCAHTOA. So let's kind of talk our way through. Remember, the first thing we want to do is we want to find our variables. So my variable here is at angle H. Now notice it's going inside the triangle because it's an angle. Okay. Now that I've done that, I can label my sides. This is my H side. This is my O side. This is my A side. If you try to label your sides before you find your variable, you don't know which side is supposed to be your O or your A side. So make sure you label your variable. All right, so now that I have that, I'm going to choose sine, cosine, or tangent. I've got O and H, so that's sine. If it's inside my parentheses, it's going, or inside my triangle, it's going inside my parentheses, and then O over H. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to go over to Desmos, and again, I'm going to type that in. Now, this is going to look a little bit different because when we're solving for angles, sometimes our answers are a little bit larger. So let's zoom out here and see if we can find our answer. Okay, so here's our answer. Now notice I can't click on it, but what I can do is I can zoom in on it. So I'm just going to keep zooming in. Okay, so I'm getting close. I see 26.4 seems to be the closest tenth, but I can zoom in even further. 26.38, 26.4, and remember they do want rounded to the nearest tenth. So the nearest tenth here, actually really doing it this way is the best way. It is clearly closer to 26.4 than 26.3, so I'm going to get 26.4. All right, but you could keep zooming in as far as you need to find the answer. All right, let's look at one more here. So I'm going to label my variable. So I've got x here. I've got H, O, and A. So that's going to be cosine. I'm going to set this thing up. Cosine of x is equal to 7 over 8. Now I'm just going to go over here to Desmos and type that in. So this time, instead of sine, it's going to be cosine. And instead of 4 over 9, it's 7 over 8. All right. Once again, I'm going to zoom out. In fact, I can hit this home button and zoom out. There's my answer, okay? We're always going to choose the positive one, not the negative one, so don't choose the negative one. Okay. Now, if you're getting a bunch of really weird answers that don't seem right, it might be that your calculator is not in degree mode, so do make sure that you're in degree mode. And if you're in the Virginia calculator, that's going to be really your best bet. Okay, so notice 28.95. If I'm not sure which one, I take a closer look. I keep zooming in, keep zooming in. Okay, I could zoom in really far, and this looks like 29 point, you could go really far, but basically 28.955, rounding to the nearest tenth. That 5 rolls that 9 up to a 10, so that carries 1. So this actually ends up being just 29 degrees. All right, so hopefully that's helpful. You feel okay with this. Make sure you choose your variables, label your sides, choose sine, cosine, or tan, and then make sure you set it up into Desmos correctly, making sure Desmos is in degree mode. So hopefully that's helpful. Feel free to reach out if you have any questions on this IXL.